What's up, everybody? We're back with the Unexpected podcast. I'm George Mossey. I'm here with Marshana, Spavento, and we got a new episode of Unexpected last night, and we met Lilly for the first time this season, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about Mirka and Ethan. So Mirka had her last sonogram appointment last night, and no one was allowed there with her, not even her mom. So it was pretty lonely. COVID has really taken a huge toll on the births of these children, and it's not just on this show. It has affected a lot of people in the year 2020 and going forward into 2021. Fathers are not being able to see their children's birth. Grandparents and parents are actually missing their child's first birth of their child, and it's insane. So I felt bad for her, knowing that they were sitting in the car outside of the appointment but weren't allowed to share that moment with her.
Oh, yeah, I can totally relate. When I had our little co-star here, Luciano, in November of 2020, I couldn't have any. My husband wasn't able to, be there and see the progress of his son, see our child kind of grow from, month to month and hear the heartbeat and look at. So it's really scary. And when I think of anytime you go into an appointment, you don't know what the news and the information would be. And that there are women out there who are facing, God forbid, some not so nice news with regards to their pregnancies, and they're facing those things alone. So COVID has had many, an impact on all of us, but particularly on starting families or expanding families. It's really tragic.
It is. I feel terrible. So Mirka's 36 weeks and the baby's in position. So fingers crossed, we might see a birth next week on the show. We don't know, but the doctor said any day. So Mirka texted her mom on last night's episode and to tell her that the baby's healthy and it's 6 pounds. And the mom texts back a one-word answer. I think she said it was wow.
Wow.
Wow. She's really trying to distance herself from being in this child's life. And it's really shocking to me because Mirka's still a child, and she's trying to share these moments with her. Yes, Liliana would wish these moments happened later in Mirka's life, but that's done and over with, and we can't change. So it really bothers me that she's still trying to distance herself from her child, distance herself from her grandchild. And it's very hurtful, and it's going to cause some emotional damage to Mirka as she gets older, because she's still a child. She's not fully developed. Her mind is still developing. This is something that is going to stay with her for a long time.
Well, when you think of it, the damage is there now. It's not like she's going to be damaged when she gets older. The damage and the impact of Liliana's response to Mirka's teenage pregnancy is doing damage in the here and now. And even when I saw Ethan's parents kind of saying to her, like, is your mom going to step up? Because I feel bad for Ethan's parents. His father said that he's taking on a second job to be able to provide for this child. And he feels like Liliana's kind of moving away from her responsibility in the situation. But Liliana's been very clear that she doesn't want any part in raising a child that is not hers, even her own grandchild. And when they bring this up to Mirka, I feel for her because there isn't anything she can do to make her mother willing.
It must be very difficult. I'm hoping when the baby is born, things will change. So she's 36 weeks in last night's episode. So hopefully at some point, Liliana will go to the hospital and see this baby and change her tune. I have my fingers crossed. So let's talk about Lilly. And Lawrence is new, but we met Lilly previously on Unexpected, and now she's back. So her baby Aaliyah is who we met her with when she was on the show before, and now she's pregnant again, and she has a new man, Lawrence. And apparently when Aaliyah was 2 months old, James, who we met previously, and her broke up. And she said that he had an issue accepting, he was 17, being a father, settling down, not talking to different girls, and just being stable. And she had to move on, which was the best thing for her to do, but she said it was still a very difficult thing for her to do.
Yeah, I think it would be difficult for anybody, and then particularly when you're a teenager. See, like how my son's crying right now, saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." It's really hard to kind of balance it all, even for me at 39, and these are young girls. Now, where I feel for her is that she's on her second baby daddy before the age of 20. Wow. This is a lot, and even the guy she's with now, when he was just kind of saying to her, like, you can get over the pain of childbirth, like in your head, right? Just like, if you don't think it's going to hurt, it's not going to hurt. And it's like, men should never tell women anything about childbirth or what it feels like. So let's just go there. And then to just kind of brush it past, it's ridiculous. Unless you're giving childbirth, and even if you have given childbirth, still don't tell anybody anything else about their childbirth, because no two births are alike.
He has no grounds to be talking about childbirth. He don't know what it's like. Him saying that the pain is in your head is ridiculous. It's not in your head. That pain is a physical pain. So it does. I'm saying it does. I know. I've heard it does. All right, so let's talk about Rihanna and Taryn. So they drove to her final pre-C-section appointment. Taryn drove 2 hours to get to the appointment, and again, they arrive at the doctor's office and they tell Taryn he can't go in because since she was a minor. Actually, her mom wasn't even technically going to go in either, but since she's a minor, they allowed her mom to go in, but no fathers, no spouses are allowed again due to COVID. And she actually learns while she's there that since hers is considered elective because she hasn't attempted a vaginal birth before, it's considered elective, and they're going to actually have to fight to get hers scheduled. And even with that, they then drop another bomb on her and say, just so you are aware of this, your mom may also not be allowed in the room with you, may have to be you alone. That was just a lot to process.
I mean, I wouldn't want any woman to give birth alone. And then when you are a teenager, 15 years young, and you're alone, and she needs her mother. With COVID, it's kind of so difficult to really understand the rhyme or reason from preventing someone else that she is quarantining with. She lives with her mother, right? I live with my husband. If he has something, I have it, and vice versa. But they're keeping people that you live with out of the room, and it's just really, 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 really tragic. And she's young, and a C-section is a major, 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 major abdominal surgery. I had a C-section, an emergency C-section, and the recovery and the process, and you're in the hospital for 3 to 4 days. She's going to be in there by herself with a newborn infant. This is just wrong.
It is. I feel for her, and with her previous medical condition, she must be terrified in itself because she can't have a vaginal birth. It would be too damaging to her body. So this must be terrifying in itself. And then to tell her, oh, well, this is still considered it's not, because this is more of a situation where
necessary.
Exactly. So I'm hoping everything works out. She is going to be giving birth pretty soon as well. So I'm hoping to see everything works out, and hopefully that Taryn is actually allowed at the hospital to see the baby maybe after the birth. Like I'm not sure how they're gonna make that happen. All right, so Tyra and Alex. So Tyra goes back home to see Layla. Her words, not mine. She said, I went back home to see Layla. I didn't go back home to see Alex. She said that, I think her exact words were, when you've been together with someone for 8 years and it's long distance, things just seem to change. That's what she was saying. My definition of that statement, she got to college and she's cheering and she has friends and she doesn't have the responsibility of a baby and she's getting accustomed to her independence.
Listen, Tyra is living her best life. And I do support her going and getting an education, even though she did become a teen mother. I support this. I'm not really certain that I'm behind the idea of her going to get that education away from her daughter 5 days a week. There's many ways to get an education now, online, community colleges. There's a lot of things, and part of being a mom is making sacrifice, and part of being a dad is making a sacrifice. And I see Alex making that sacrifice, and I don't see Tyra doing it. And I'm torn because I don't want to blame her for it, right? Because this education could lead to a better career for her, that could lead to more money, which could lead to more options and opportunities for her to be able to provide for her daughter. But if you ask me, Tyra has a new boo in college. And that's what we all did when we all got to college. Everybody had a college boo.
Yeah.
And she is more interested in going to Miami, coming down here to the beautiful Sunshine State and having a good time than she is with Alex. And it's like, okay, you're young. They're both so young and they have this baby. But being able, if possible, to maintain a relationship with Alex would be good for Layla. So if you care so much for Layla, I don't think you would write her father off, who's her primary physical custodial parent.
I agree. I actually agree with you that there's someone at college. In the previews for next week's episode, we saw some guy in the water with her at the beach, and they were a little too close. So I feel like she got to college with no responsibility of her baby physically there with her, and she's living the single life because Alex is not there. The baby's not there. She's basically a single girl in college, as it would appear to anyone else, and
Right.
she's forgetting that responsibility in that relationship because he's not physically there. If you only see him 2 or 3 times a month, if that, there's no relationship. Like he was saying, he said they needed to spend time together. They need to go on a date. They needed to rekindle what was disappearing. And did you see the way she sighed when he asked her to go on a date? She was just like, I guess I could do that, but I don't really want to do that. Like, I was very disgusted, just the way that she dismissed him. Because when it's in a vice versa situation, that's what women like to call a controlling or mean or manipulative or insensitive man. But I saw it happening in the reverse. I was like, she's actually doing what women say men tend to do. And it was really eye-opening because this can happen both ways.
Oh, it can. And even when she kind of got on his case about the mother's, Alex's mom's boyfriend that she met on the internet moving into the house, it's like that's misplaced anger, Tyra, because you're worried about Layla because you are her mother and you do care about her and you are worried about her. But Alex is not the person who can do anything about that. He doesn't pay the bills in that house. It's his mom's place. Like, holding him liable and accountable for what you feel was a breach of your daughter's safety is beyond unfair, particularly when you're the absentee parent.
Exactly. If anything, he was going to be the one physically there to protect her. You weren't even going to be there. You were aware of the situation and you didn't get in your car and drive there. You were aware and did nothing. He at least was physically there. And I didn't realize that he was working because when she asked him about it, he said he found out about it at work. So not only is he full-time parent, he's also working and contributing to his daughter's well-being. And I feel like he's not getting the credit from her that he deserves.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys. With that being said, that's it for our unexpected podcast. I can't wait to see what happens next week. Fingers crossed we might see a baby being born, which is always exciting. And Merca and Ethan's little girl may be that baby. So I'm pretty excited, guys. Thanks for joining. I'm George Mossey. This is Marshana, Dahlia Spavento. And this is little Luciano. And we will talk to you guys all soon. Our Twitters and Instagrams will be at the bottom. And we live tweet this show every Sunday. Thanks for watching.